Hey, what's up? This is Rina and Friends. And tonight we have a special guest in the building. But first, I want to shout out 4DX Records. Hey. Um, we have a special guest tonight, straight out of the Boogie Down Bronx. And he goes by the name of Verse Reed. What's up, Verse?
What's up? Thank you for having me. I appreciate you interviewing me, and yeah, let's get to it.
You ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right. So, could you begin by providing like a brief introduction to yourself as an artist and the inspiration behind your music career and all that?
So, my name is Verse Reed. I'm from the Bronx, West Side. I don't know, just music has just been something that I was always able to escape. Um, growing up in the Bronx is a lot. It could be, definitely a journey, but where I come from a place, I come from a family and a place where, strength is important. And throughout my family, I feel like the arts is something that's like, it has a huge, impact. And so I kind of found my passion, which was hip hop. I love writing. I love expressing myself. Since a kid, I always was like my grandparents used to always say, "Yo, this kid, he's gonna be a lawyer one day." So I went on that journey of like, okay, I'm gonna be a lawyer because I talked a lot. So then I found music, and I don't know, it just took a whole 360, and then from there, I just, I knew I wanted to be an artist. I knew I wanted to be someone who impacts lives with their words, and I don't know, music is just everything, and so I come from that, and as far as my background, and yeah, hip hop. You know, hip hop's where it all started.
So, where does Verse Reed comes to play? Because I know that's your artist name. So, how did you come about? Like, yeah, that's gonna be my name, Verse Reed. That's gonna be my rap name, my artist name, etc.
Honestly, it was like a mixture of a lot of different names prior. So I was in my hood, I used to be called Jay, like by all my friends in high school and everything. Prior to that, I was called Rel. Rel was definitely a character, definitely someone who, suffered from anger issues and, using violence as a tool to, get what really was on my heart out. So it started with that. So then when I started rapping, I called myself Rel for a little bit. And then it was Young Javinci, of course. The brand is Givenchy, but it was Young Javinci because I just felt like, when you from the Bronx, when you from New York City, like all of these brands and stuff, is what you pronounce it. And I read Givenchy as Javinci. So for a while that was my name, a little hot minute. And then it was a point where I was just gonna call myself Jay. But with that name, Jay Z, Jay Electronica, there's a lot of J's. Kind of like with Fab, I think if I'm not mistaken, Fab's story is originally his name was Jay, whatever, whatever. But like I knew Jay wouldn't work, so I just took my mother's maiden name, my grandmother's last name, who, if it wasn't for my grandmother, I probably wouldn't even be doing this, or my mom. But I took their last name, and then Verse was like a play on universe. I always used to listen to like Biggie's Sky's the Limit, and with that song, like I always used to just visualize what I could be, what I could become. And sky's the limit. But I always said to myself, I was like, yo, there's a whole nother world out there. There's a whole nother universe. Like we're in a universe. So I don't know. One day I just was like, read, universe, verse, read. And I was like, oh shit. So I kind of like used different elements of my life and different, around the time, I also was heavy into astrology and studying stars and stuff like that. It's just, it all wraps up into this whole conundrum of a story. It's deep, yeah. So yeah, verse read just came out of me exploring myself, and then wanted to, go past the sky into the universe. So yeah.
You mentioned your grandmother. So, what exactly does your grandmother have to do with your artist name?
Other than the last name, because my grandmother's her maiden last name is Reed as well. She gave all her kids her last name. Didn't play no games, so they all are Reeds. But honestly, my grandmother, between my grandmother and my mom, they were like the superheroes in my life. Um, I've always been like vocal as far as like on my relationship with my dad and my other family. So like I didn't have the best relationship with my father. We bumped heads, oil and water, oil and vinegar, you name it. That's what we was. We just didn't mix. And so when it came to superheroes in my life and people I looked up to, it was my grandmother and my mom. So like my mom was a young mom, had me at a young age, left the streets alone and decided to raise her son. And she always told me like I saved her life. But like with my grandmother in particular, my grandmother just was everything. She was like, a superhero. She was, she had a strength that like I didn't even see until I saw her. She had a strength where it was like she knew she had to make it. She was gonna make it by any means. She always told me, make it by any means. Our conversations, she used to always end it with like, remember why you're here, remember why you're there. And it was just like, she was like one of one. And I wish she was alive for you guys to meet her, because we'll have a ball. She'll probably run up on this shit and be like, yeah, he talk about me. But like my grandmother just like, she was that woman. Like she just was phenomenal. So like she's definitely someone that, pushed me as an artist.
Oh, I like that. That's deep. That's sweet. And I'm sure she's over here with us, chilling. Like, yeah, that's my boy. Right. So, how did I know you're part of 4DX record label? You're the artist. You're the first artist in a record label. How did the opportunity to join 4DX record came about?
So with 40X, 40X started with, it was about four brothers who, you know, out of the four, three of them, of course, was looking at me and seeing that, I was a talented, person. I'm an artist. I'm really good at what I do. I could rap, my pen work. When it comes to, my music, I take it very serious. And so it was just four brothers coming together and just saying, yo, like, it's hard to get a deal out here. It's hard to, move as an artist out here, especially in New York where music is saturated. So we was like, yo, so we just gonna create our own. We're gonna create our own platforms. We're gonna create our own label, and we're gonna, put it out ourselves. Then, mind you, we're young. We're in our early 20s, fresh out of college. Then, life smacks us, and, life puts us in, a certain gear where we have to look at, this dream and say, yo, how do we achieve it for real, for real? Because, this is $1 billion industry. So just 40X Records just was birthed by, four brothers out of the Bronx who just wanted to make it out. And with that, then came two brothers who, wanted to push that, beyond what we dreamed as four brothers. So, me and Angel just always said, yo, what's most important? What's most important is for artists to own, to have ownership of their art, because they create it. When you look at the industry and you look at how labels are, built and how they, survive, is off of owning our art. So as Black and brown people, we believe in owning our art. So we, tailored our label behind that. And then from there, just creatively creating a platform for artists to just be themselves. Like with 40X Records, we've always looked at it as being more than just a record label, a lifestyle, something that, surrounds, within the community, that helps the community, and just overall like a force. Like, a couple of, is a label that I want to mention, but I can't mention it because of a lot of stuff that's going on. But like, labels like that label, like Rockefeller, like Def Jam, like, Atlantic Records, to a certain degree. Individuals like L.A. Reid and Babyface, individuals like Russell Simmons, you name it, you know what I'm saying? Those guys, opened the door for us to see the vision and see that our art is important, and owning it is important too.
All right, shout out to Angel, the CEO for DX Records. So you released a couple of singles and three albums, if I'm not mistaken. So Don't Ever Tell Me, which was your first one. Then you had Chosen and your latest, which is Vibes for the Ride, Volume 1. So Vibes for the Ride, Volume 1 has garnered significant recognition from like Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, you name it. What makes this album stand out from the rest of your other albums?
Fun fact though, I actually made an album before Don't Ever Tell Me. Actually, another album before the album I'm about to mention. So I actually have two other albums that are like in the tuck because I don't want people to find them. Honestly, it's just it was a time where I was developing my pen and developing who I was as an artist. My first ever project, it had kind of like an emotional stain to it, where I was dealing with breaking up with a high school sweetheart and that whole process going into college and her still being in my life. Like it was crazy. And then with Live Love Life was like probably the first time I felt the confidence to rap, to felt the confidence to show the world my talent. And even then, I still was, shy as fuck. But with Vibes to the Ride, being, my most recent project, genuinely, it's a crossroads. So like, with Vibes to the Ride, I visualized it like 3 years ago. It being a group of songs that you can just ride to, you could vibe to, whether you cleaning, whether you driving, whether you doing laundry. Like it was something that you could just put on and just let it play. I love albums like that. Like I feel like album cuts, singles, all of that stuff is important. But if you have an album that you can play from start to finish, it's like I feel like you really, did what you were supposed to do. So Vibes to the Ride was created off of that, and then Vibes to the Ride was also my introduction to me going from being, a lyricist and a rapper to being an artist. Like I'm not gonna lie, like I hold myself to a certain standard when it comes to hip hop and writing and metaphors and punchlines. I always held myself to a high standard, but in this day and age, being an artist is a lot more fun, and being able to create bodies of work that is more than just hip hop, but it's something universal, something that hits every corner of the earth. Like that's something that I wanted to do. So like Vibes to the Ride is kind of like the beginning of that. It's the beginning of me introducing myself as an artist. So yeah.
I know you mentioned like that now is like more fun, right? What makes it more fun than before?
Honestly, like I remember when I did like one of my projects called Live Love Life. The mission for that project was to show that I could rap, to show that like if I was to be in a room with like the Kendrick Lamars, the J. Cole's, the Drakes, the Nicki Minaj's, the Big Sean's, like I was to be able to stand and hold my own in a room of those caliber type artists, because like now the type of artist I am now is like I was gonna say something, but I ain't gonna say it. But the type of artist I am now, like I'm is more than competing. Is now like I could do this. Like, what's up? Like, throw that shot. I got you. It's coming right back. But to answer your question, like it's fun because I'm able to explore. Like I'm able to, dive into emotions that I've always talked about. Like I've always been looked at as a lover boy. I've always been looked at as the shy kid, whatever. But like with being an artist, I'm able to explore different avenues of how to express myself. So like if you look at songs like if you was to just go down the album, you hear like the first song, Until Time. I'm drawing you into a story that's a reflection of like what's going on internally. Then if you even go a few songs down and you go to a song like Tonight, I'm showing you that like, yo, I'm trying to turn up too. Like I'm trying to, I'm trying to be in a strip club, you know what I'm saying, throwing money too. Like, but in a artsy kind of way. Like, and then if you even go down to like the last song, like not even the last song, like the second to last, Great Wolf, where I'm barking at you, I'm letting you know I'm here. Like this ain't the kid that was afraid to go in the ciphers and be first or be last. Like that's what Great Wolf was to me. So like that's what makes it fun. I'm able to put on different hats and channel different egos, alter egos within myself that I have. So
I got to talk about Drake and Kendrick Lamar because you threw that out there, right? So, do you consider yourself a OV ho or a Kendrick Lamar? A Kendrick Lamar, like, poetic and all that.
yo, like It's funny you asked that question because it's one of those things. Like for example, being an artist, like I feel like I'm able to be both. Now whose side I'm on, you know what I'm saying? It's just I like rap. I like hip hop, and they both giants. They're both people that I looked up to. Ain't no denying that I did not look up to Drake or Kendrick Lamar coming up as an up and coming artist. I've been waiting for this beat for a minute. I feel like it's been cooking for like 10 to 12 years. So
So wait, so you kind of knew that they were both gonna.
yeah, yeah, it's a given. It's like when you so like at the time when they came out, it was like the big five. You had Kendrick Lamar, you had Drake, you had Nicki, you had Big Sean, and I would throw Wale in that conversation too because around that time, and Wale's a lyricist. Like, what a poet! He's a poet in itself. Like, he deserved to. He would have gotten his flowers if he would have came out in the '90s. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he's so deep that it's kind of hard for this generation to, even that generation then, to comprehend what he was saying. But like I throw him in that conversation too. But like those when they came out, like it was the top five, and it was like ain't nobody around spitting like them, ain't nobody around, pen working like them. So in that top five, you got ready to spar. The niggas is ready to get at it. So like I've always saw Kendrick Lamar and Drake's, passion to wanting to be who's number one and who's number two. And it's always fluctuate until Cole had his, his growth season where he was just bodying every single track he was on, like constantly. So like, there's always gonna be that debate between them two. And I knew it was coming. I think a lot of hip hop heads, people who's into battle rap, knew it was coming. And yeah, like shout out my boy K Dot. Like, they not like us. Like, they not like us. Like, yeah. I want to be messy.
All right. So, are there any standout tracks on the album that hold special significance to you?
Um, yes. The right answer is all of them. But the real answer I think people will want to hear is like songs like Until Time, where I kind of felt like, I'm someone who for a long time didn't believe in therapy because of my family, and, that's just a stigma for black and brown people. And I'm someone who said, fuck it, I'm gonna go to therapy. And, I love therapy. Shout out my therapist. I ain't gonna say her name because I know y'all gonna try to book her. But shout out my therapist. But, finding myself, I was able to like really hone into who I was becoming in that song. So it was like that song is like one of the songs that like I hold deeply and like I protect because I don't like getting vulnerable, but I know that getting vulnerable heals me and I know it can heal others, so that's why I do it. Here with me, shout out Kamikaze. Like that was actually like I would say the first real collab that I've had that I put out, and it was a collab that like I love it when a female could wash you on a song. I'm cool with getting washed by a female rapper whose pen works. And these other dudes, no, y'all not washing me. But I would love I'm cool with females washing me, and she washed me in that song if we was to compare it that way. But the meaning of the song and what the song stands for, I feel like it's everyday issues in relationships, and it embodies the lack of communication, the lack of submitting and finding your love, and when you finding your love, being able to hold it. That song embodies that, and just overall like the presence of the perspective of a male to a female, and that song is definitely one of them. Once is another song that I really love. I really loved writing. I really loved putting my feelings on as far as with that song. Tonight, we've been locked in all night. I know you feel it. Like Tonight is a song where like the realm of wanting to make records that make people feel good, and make people like want to shake your ass. Like I've always been someone who was shy of doing that because I felt like I didn't know how to do it. But I think when it comes to creating art, it's not about you wanting to know how to do it. It's just about you doing it, and you doing it to your standard and what you want at the end of the day for the product and what the song to be. So for tonight, that's why that's one of my favorites. And honestly, that's it. Like those songs hold like a special place like in my heart. The whole project though, if I could choose the whole project, I would.
Shout out to your album because it's pretty good. I mean, not pretty good. It's great. I love it. And shout out to Kamikaze because that song is one of my favorite songs. I love it. But I wanted to ask, like, how did that come about? Like, how did you reach out to her, or how did that work out for you guys? Like, did she reach out to you, or you reach out to her? How did you guys meet?
So it's a funny story. So I saw Kamikaze perform at Day Summit. Um Shout out to Day Summit. Everybody in that camp who, puts on, shows for up and coming artists. It's a platform where, we can show our talent and, really industry folk could really come and look and, kind of shop around. I would look at it to that extent. But yeah, I met her there. She performed about 2 songs, and then she was a feature on a song, I believe, and then she got back on the stage with another artist and performed again. And so I was intrigued. I am one who, celebrates women in hip hop, and I'm one who celebrates the female rapper. And when you dope, you dope. And so like she was just dope, and she kind of like gave me that feel of like me but in a female version. So shout out Andy too. Andy was like on the same page with me. He's also, part of the label. He was right there. He was like, yo, I see it. And I was like, I see it too. So I'm not too good with approaching people. I'm very reserved, very shy, and like I don't like to bombard people with like my energy. Sometimes my energy could be a lot, but Andy was like, nah, I got you. He went, chopped it up with her, introduced us. We had a little quick conversation. She gave me her number, lost her number. Now she saved her number in my phone, and then I gave her my number, and she was like, I want to work with you. Like, let's work. I was like, all right, but months is going by. We're having meetings, and nobody knows what Kamikaze's number is. So she saved it in my phone as Cash.
Oh, wow.
But I met her as Kamikaze, so it was like all this time I had her number, but I lost it. So when Here With Me was birthed and it was put into, the atmosphere, it was no doubt that everybody at the label was like Kamikaze, and I was already thinking it, but I was like, yo, how we gonna get her? Like, then somebody found her on Twitter, somebody did the dissected. Shout out Rina found her on Twitter and connected us, and then like I sent her the song. She was, first of all, she was like, yo, of course I remember you. Like, fuck is you talking about? Like, I remember you. You know that New York shit. Yeah. So she was like on that type of time. I was like, all right, best. So I sent her the song, and she just was like, yo, like, I'm jumping on this. And she dead ass gave her verse in like, she like 2.5 days. Oh, wow. Like she did that shit quick. And she sent me first pre-record, then she sent me her vocals, put it together, and then now we about to shoot the video. So yeah.
So going back to you, shout out to you for going to therapy because not a lot of people do that, and especially men nowadays. It's like, yeah, I want to hold y'all feelings in and be like all tough and shit. It is very unhealthy. So how does your music personally resonate with your own life story?
I feel like my music is a way for me to like let the world know I was here. It's this weird thing that I read on Instagram where there was some guy made a video and he was basically saying we go through all these years in life. We hustle for a car, we hustle for a house, we build on a 410k, We retire, we die. They sell that house you worked hard for. That car gets put in a junkyard because it's old or it gets resold. Everything you worked hard for no longer exists because you're gone. People who, loved you, mourn you for a couple months, and then you just become a memory. And so I said to myself, I was like, yo, other than me being an artist and me wanting to do music, how do I stay relevant past my time? How do I give a testament to my family? When I have my children and I pass on and I have grandkids, great grandkids, how do I, give them my story? How do they get to know who I am? And so honestly, that's just what music was. Other than, me just therapeutically just wanted to express myself in some way, shape, or form. Because I grew up in a house where it was like, for my mom, with my mom, I can express myself. Me and her had an amazing relationship. Again, with my grandma, same thing. But like with my dad, I didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to learn how to be a man myself. I had to learn how to do certain things myself with my father being in the crib. So it's like one of those things where like music helped me through that. And it became like a place where I was able to like put my heart and then give it to the world at the same time. So the kid that's growing up that didn't have what I had has something at least through music from me. So that's kind of like how I looked at it, honestly.
I like your response. I like your response because just because sometimes you have your dad there at home doesn't mean that he's actually there. So I definitely understand you. So can you share a defining moment or experience from your personal life that has shaped your artistic journey? I don't know if you have answered that question yet, but
Um, I think and this happened around 2018. I was recording a song called Lawrence Interlude, and I'm sorry, let me rephrase. I was recording a song called Out of It, and Lawrence Interlude came after, and Lawrence Interlude was the song that I solidified it. But with Out of It, I think that was like one of the first songs that I lyrically wrote that like I just was kind of like, how in Boys in the Hood when Cuban Gooding Jr. is punching the air, and then Nia Long is there and she's just like, what the fuck? She just holds him. Like metaphorically, that stands for something, and it's like with that song, like I just that's what I did. I just started, punching the world. I punched the air. I punched everything that was around me that I just felt like, yo, it's consuming me. And I used that song as a vessel. And then when I recorded Lawrence Interlude, it was like a stamp of approval that you could do this. And then, of course, I had like times where, ups and downs where I felt like I couldn't. But like I would say that is a moment where I finally realized that it's do or die for me. And then just other experiences with other people, like growing this label, being able to use the label as a way to express myself, working with other artists like Kamikaze, Raymond P, someone that I worked with as well. France is another artist from Buffalo that I worked with as well. That's coming out soon, but we have a song that's been in the tuck for like 4 years that it's called Fear that I haven't even put out yet because
you're scared? Because it brings fear in you?
nah, it was just it was just more so like I overthink, and I think my problem is that I need to stop doing that, and the right time is that time, and so my fault, bro, for holding on to that song for so long, but that song is coming soon because it's a powerful one. And yeah, like just all the milestones, like just milestones. And honestly, I don't even think I've really felt that wow moment, that whoa, like I'm here. So yeah, I think it's coming. It's coming soon.
So, question. Your album, Vibes for the Ride, Volume 1, is it dedicated to like a special someone or is like for the ladies? Because listening to the album, I was like, ooh, it's a little spicy.
Um, I think I dedicated it to me first. Um, as far as someone special, no.
Are you sure about that?
I'm positive. I'm very positive, but like I think a lot of the songs that I create that stems from emotions and love and stuff that I go through, stuff that people around me go through. It does draw to a few special someones, but it's not on a level of like we're together. It's a level of even if it's like some fucked up shit I'm talking about, it's a level where I'm thanking you because you put me through something. I put you through something that we both can walk away and grow from. And even though in that moment it was rough, it was tough, it hurt, it was pain, we took something from it. And I know I've taken something from every relationship that I've been in. I would hope that they have too. But as far as a dedication, I think it's a dedication to the culture, a dedication to me, a dedication to those individuals. I ain't gonna say y'all names. I know y'all want me to, but those individuals, and just like a dedication to like the future. I think, like, yeah, I think it's a dedication to the future.
So, what message or emotion do you hope listeners take away from listening to your music?
That is okay to. It's okay to go on that adventure. I think, and I think what I'm about to say is I think I'm talking to the artists out there who, because there's artists who have their formula, they have their stance, they know what they do, and then there's artists who not necessarily have a formula, but has a cultural presence around them that they want to like show to the world, but they're fearful of doing it. It's like, do that shit. Like, whatever you feel, whatever music you want to make, like I just wrote a rock song 3 days ago, and not for nothing, I played the song to 3 people, and they're like, "What the fuck? Like, what are you doing rock now?" And it's like, no, it's not that I'm doing rock. It's that I'm expressing myself in a different way, and it just so happens that this expression it fits this genre, and so like that's kind of like how I look at it. I think for the artists that are coming up, like stay authentic to yourself, stay authentic to what you want to do, and what you want to do is important because trying to satisfy the listener, you only making the listener really not want to listen. I think it's important to when you stay being yourself, people are gonna gravitate towards that authenticness, and then from that point, they're gonna want to hear you, and they're gonna want to see who you are as an artist. So, yeah, I think that's the best way to answer that.
So, what's the most significant challenge you faced as an artist, and how did you overcome it?
Listening to you whack niggas, nah, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. A little bit, nah. I don't know.
I got you on the hot seat.
I don't know. I just like, what is this sport? This sport is hip hop. This sport is poetry. This sport is expression. So like, if I feel like if that's not the avenue you're going down, then what are you doing? This ain't for you. So that's a tough question. That got me a little,
A
a little on Jackie. I was thinking of names, like, I don't know.
Maybe it is the liquor. We should take a little sip for that.
Facts.
Cheers. Oh shit. Got me spilling over here and shit. So where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? Like, I would say, because I feel like 5 years is like right there. Maybe like in 10 years from now.
10 years, I see myself paving a way. I see myself accomplishing all of the stuff I dreamed about, all the stuff that kept me up at night, all the stuff that I've talked to my brothers with, all of the stuff that I blood, sweat, and tears as far as in that aspect, put towards all of the training I've been doing, like, cause this sport is like, it's like the Olympics, it's like, basketball, it's like football, it's like, you have to, if you really want to be known as an artist, as a rapper, as someone who can rap, it's training. If you want to be someone who's known as an artist, that's training. Um, in 10 years, I see myself accomplishing everything that I wrote down last year, when I was at my lowest point, and saying, this is my lowest point, but this is what's going to get me to here. And I wrote it down. In 10 years, I see myself being a multimillionaire. 15, 20 years, I see myself being a billionaire. Like, you can ask anybody around me, like, a million is just change for me. I want to become a billionaire. I want to be, the Mark Zuckerberg, I want to be that of hip hop. Like, I want to be, Jay-Z paved the way, Kanye paved the way, even, Rihanna paved the way, billionaires. I want to be that. I want to, be able to take my money and bring it into my community, and help stop world hunger, help stop poverty in the Bronx, in New York City, in the East Coast, West Coast, everywhere.